Hello guys, what is going on? It's been a little while since I put a video up. I think it's been a little over a week now. I guess that's what happens when you have a 7-week-old baby popping up in your life. Your spare time is a little bit less, but anyway, it's worth the wait because we have a very good video today. We have a comparison video. Everybody loves those. I love making them. I'm actually really excited to make this because I really haven't driven either one of these trucks. I've driven the Ram from down there to here, and I've driven the Ford from my father-in-law's place to here. So let's show you what we got going on. All right, so here is what we got. We have a 2019 Ford F150 XLT with the 3.5 liter EcoBoost. Over here, we have a 2019 Ram 1500 Classic Express with the 5.7 Hemi. Now, right away, looking at these two trucks, they are basically right around the same price range. You're gonna get a little bit better deal on this truck compared to this truck. For a couple reasons. Ram offers really good incentives, and this is the classic body style, which they are trying to, you know, push out and bring in all the new body styles. So you can get a really good deal on this truck. So right away, looking at the trucks, it is basically apples and oranges. You have complete blacked out absolutely everything, and then you got chrome. So we got, you know, black grille, we got the black out bumper accents, black wheels, black mirrors, black door handles, you know, body match bumpers, black emblems, blacked out everything. So looks are completely subjective for sure, but I love the look of the Express. Black emblems here. I really do. I mean, this is my look. Also, the headlights, they are blacked out as well on the inside. They don't have the chrome sort of accents, so they're blacked out as well. And over on the Ford, sorry for the sun, but over on the Ford, we have chrome grills, chrome bumpers, chrome tow hooks, chrome door handles, chrome wheels, chrome back bumper. So, you know, it is completely different look. It's all about what you like, what you're looking for, what you want. Both trucks looks great. Like, I really do like both trucks. So that's the exterior. I'm not going to get into too much comparisons here on exterior and interior features and stuff like that. Just give you a quick look at both. The main thing is, you know, how they drive, the fuel mileage, you know, my final thoughts. The dual exhaust is nice in the Rams, but this is the only thing that's not blacked out in the Rams, but does not make sense to me. You get chrome exhaust tips right here. I think they could have gone the extra little mile and put the black chrome tips on, but it is what it is. So let's just take a quick look at the inside of the truck. And again, I'm not going to go into too many features here, but the inside of this truck is fairly basic for sure. Both of them are fairly basic, to be honest. But there is, you know, quite a few hard plastics here. It is a very comfortable truck, but there are some, you know, hard plastics. It's not until you get up in the higher trims that you get, you know, the really nice interiors. Nice big 8.4 screen though. This does have dual climate control, which is really nice. There's a fair amount of storage here. This doesn't have the full bucket seat. It has, you know, you can flop this up and make this another seat. It's, you know, it's a basic interior. It's what you need. It really is what you need. It is nice looking. It is very nice looking. So there's you know, there's the front of the truck. Let's okay, let's jump in the back for a sec. This seat is all the way back right now. There is a large amount of room back here. I think there is still a bit more room in the Ford, but not much. But no matter where you're sitting, it is a nice comfortable place to be. Not bad at all, not bad at all. Fold this up, you got lots of storage here underneath. The higher trims do have a thing that folds down and gives you a flat floor. This one does not, but you can always add that on yourself pretty easily. Cup holders here, you got vents here. It does the trick. Does the trick. Both of these trucks do have the short box. So both of them are the crew cab with the short box. Spray-in bed liner in both. Both have LED bed lighting, tie-down hooks, of course. pretty straightforward. Here, like I said, both trucks do have a spray-in bed liner and LED bed lighting. So now let's take a look at the Ford. So in the Ford, you do, now these seats were done by my father-in-law after the fact. These are leather seats that he had added in. Both seats did come with cloth, standard. So looking at the Ford, you do have a little bit more sort of soft touch materials here. A little bit more refinement on the interior of this one. You got sort of leather here. This is the full console, but this one does not have dual climate control, but it does have heated seats. The Ram does not have heated seats. Both trucks obviously four-wheel drive, we'll get into that. But you know, pretty much the same on the inside of the trucks, to be honest. The Ford might have a little bit more refinement as far as like a couple soft touch materials and whatnot, but both trucks are extremely comfortable. This one does have power seats. The Ram doesn't have power seats, but I actually find the Ram seating position is very comfortable even without the power seats. With the Ford, the one thing that I like, and the thing that I like it for, is because I have two big dogs, is you have a flat floor here right from the get-go. You do lose storage, so it all depends what you want. But my dogs have a ton of room back here. With the Ram, like I said, you can easily gear that up after the fact. You can just build yourself a little platform if you want to put a mattress back there, a bed back there, or something for the dogs. But the Ford comes with this, but you sacrifice storage. So there is more storage in the Ram, but more sort of floor space in the back of the Ford. In the back of the Ford, you do have two USB ports here, your plug-in here, and a cigarette lighter there. So there is a few extra options in the Ford, but you do pay a little more for the Ford. There's no way around that. The price of this truck compared to the price of that truck, this was you know, a fair amount cheaper when it was all said and done. Not like a crazy amount, but a few $1,000s cheaper this truck was than this one. So this truck my father-in-law's, this truck's my father's. All right, so that is the sort of walk around of the trucks, guys. Let's jump in these things and go for a drive, and we'll talk about what really matters. So this truck has the V8 Hemi, which is 395 horsepower, 410 torque, and this is a 3.5 EcoBoost, which is 375 horsepower but 470 torque. It would be cool to have, you know, the 5-liter Coyote versus the 5.7-liter Hemi, but we don't have that. But this is actually considered the manufacturer's two most powerful engines. This is a torque monster. This is a torque monster for sure. These things are just so torquey. So we are going to do another video later on with towing. I'm going to tow one of my trailers with both trucks and give you guys an idea of what I think. But for now, it's time to jump in these things, and we're going to go for a little drive, test the fuel mileage, test out just the experience of driving both. All right, guys, so we are in the Ram. I really like the Uconnect system. It's actually really nice. Okay, so we are going to reset our trip here. We are zeros across the board. Now let's see how we do. Now, okay, we are off. So this is a complete raw sort of feel for me. I have never driven, okay, I've driven, one of my buddies had a few of these trucks, these Ram trucks, and I've driven those, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago. I've never driven this truck, so this is my first initial reactions to driving this truck. So right away, it drives very smooth. It's actually quite quiet, but that Hemi does sound really good. The Hemi, that dual exhaust sounds really nice. The seats are actually really comfortable in this truck. One of my gripes, because I used to own an F150, one of my gripes in my F150, because that truck actually did not have power seats, I found those seats extremely uncomfortable right from the get-go through my whole ownership. I could not get comfortable in that truck. Now I can tell you that I find this truck very comfortable, like very comfortable. The dash is nice to look at. You know, the gauges are nice to look at. It is completely different though. Like, a lot of stuff's different in here. Your visibility is really good, like really good in this truck. I'd say the visibility is better in this truck than in the F150. The dash seems lower, like the Uconnect and the screen and stuff, that all seems lower than in the F150, which gives you better visibility. But the transmission is shifting very, very smoothly. The brakes feel great. So right now it feels really good. So I'm just gonna jump on the highway. I'll show you like a little acceleration and we'll get up the speed and see what the mileage comes back. All right, so here we are, we're getting on the highway. So we're gonna do a little acceleration. My foot is not to the floor. Not to the floor. I'd say half throttle, maybe 2/3 throttle. Very nice. Very smooth. That acceleration was very smooth. It sounded great. I mean, that's one thing about the Hemi. It's definitely going to sound better than what the EcoBoost will. There's no doubt about that. No, that was great for my first time driving this truck. And as you can see, this truck is brand new. It has 779 kilometers on it right now. Just picked it up a few days ago. My original thoughts on the suspension is I like it. This does have the coil suspension in the rear, and I was always a little bit hesitant on that because, well, we're gonna hook up a trailer here tomorrow, and we're gonna find out how it handles a trailer. But I was always hesitant on that because of that. But as far as driving, like daily driving, the suspension feels great. It feels great. So we are going to we'll go for a bit of a drive here. We're gonna get the cruise set at you know, around 63, 64 miles per hour. I'm not exactly sure what the distance is that we're going to travel, but it's a decent little drive. It gives you guys an idea of the fuel mileage in both trucks, and just let you know how it drives. We got some hills. We got this whole route is up and down, up and down, up and down. So it's not flat ground. So we're gonna pick up some mileage on the way down, and we're gonna lose a bunch on the way up these hills. But here come some bumps. Very smooth. Drives very nice. The steering feels really good. Now I did just drive that Ford from my father-in-law's place to my place, which is only a 5-minute drive, and I can just tell that my initial feel of driving both trucks, I like the steering in the Ram better. But we'll see once we get that Ford on the road, and we'll see how that does. But anyway, you see the terrain we're gonna be dealing with here. Yeah, that acceleration is super smooth and super easy. My foot is barely into this, and it has no problem getting up and going. No problem. Not sure what gear we are in right now because this does not have a gear indicator. The F150 does. It does actually show you what gear you're in. Of course, this is the 8-speed transmission, and the 150 will have the 10-speed transmission. So right now we are actually set at a little bit higher than what I want to be. I want to bring her down right about there. So we're at like 64 miles per hour. We're gonna do the same thing on both. All right, so here we are, guys. We're at about 63 miles per hour, and we're at just under 1500 RPM. Very nice. I love how this thing drives. Like I said, this is my raw reaction to this, because I have not driven one of these trucks forever, and I am super impressed with how nice this drives. And again, like this truck does not have power seats. I take a long time to get comfortable in a vehicle. I'm extremely comfortable in this. I could sit in this truck for a very long time. Super quiet. You don't hear hardly any road noise at all. The radio system sounds great. That's another thing. It drives so nice. I love the steering. Like, I love the steering in this truck. It's not too light. It's not too heavy. It is on the heavier side compared to the F-150 from what I just drove, you know, just that little small drive. But I like it. I like sort of every little movement does something. I find there is a little bit of play in the 150s, just because it's assisted. This just feels solid. drives down the road completely straight down the road. No shimmy, no shake in the steering wheel whatsoever. Very smooth driving truck. So we're getting close to our exit here right now. We've driven 24 kilometers so far. I'll show you what the mileage is once we get there, and we'll see what we get on the way back. And so far, I am extremely impressed with how this truck drives. All right, we're getting back on the highway. We've driven 26 kilometers, and we are at 11.1 liters for every 100 right now. So let's do another little acceleration. I am not into this thing at all. Now I am. Yeah, she's got no problem getting up to speed, and she sounds good doing it. I will say one thing, the mirrors are great. These are not the tow mirrors, these are just the normal mirrors. These mirrors are fantastic. Visibility is top notch in this truck. All right, so let's see what we get on the way home. I'll show you the final numbers, and then we'll take the Ford out. So we are back in the yard. 52 kilometers exactly. Let's see what the Ford says. 11.7 liters per every 100. Very good, actually, for this truck to be getting that kind of mileage. It will probably get a little bit better too as it breaks in, considering it's completely brand new with 800 kilometers on it. That was a very enjoyable drive. That's the easiest way that I'm going to say that. So now we're going to jump in the Ford and we'll see what we think about that one. All right, here we are behind the steering wheel of the Ford F150. And it feels so much different. Everything is zeroed out. So we'll see what we get on this guy for mileage. And there, the engine just shut off because this has the auto stop, auto on feature. Instantly feels just so much different, so much different. Now my initial response to sitting in this truck compared to the Ram was that, yeah, the interior in this truck is a bit more refined to it, but that's just because of the, you know, the actual sort of trim of the truck itself. This truck is a more expensive truck. It has a leather wrapped steering wheel. It's got the full sort of center console here. You know, does have some soft touch materials over here compared to the Ram. But this truck, the price tag on this truck does come in a bit higher than what the Ram does. But my initial driving response is I really like the feel of the steering in the Ram compared to the feel of the steering in this truck. I find the steering wheel, like, there is a bit of play in it, and the steering wheel does kind of wander a little bit compared to the Ram. I find the steering feel in the Ram is just so connected to the truck. Every little thing does something. I find the steering in this, the weird thing I find about the steering in this is when you go around a turn, the steering kind of comes back on its own. Whereas the Ram, you actually have to bring it back. This seems like it just comes back on its own. That's the only way I can really explain it, to be honest. Super quiet in here. The transmission is very smooth. The transmission's smooth in both trucks. You can't go wrong with the feel of both transmissions. Brakes feel fairly similar. I find the Ram has more grab, you know, as soon as you touch the pedal. When you touch the pedal in this, there's a little bit of dead pedal, and then there's brake. Whereas the Ram, it does seem like the second you touch the brake pedal, there's more stopping power, you know, like right away. So we're just gonna get on the highway up here, hit the cruise control, do the exact same thing, the exact same trip that we just did in the Ram, and we'll see what the results are. So we're gonna get on the highway. We'll hit the accelerator a little bit, see how she does. I'm not into it. Man, these EcoBoosts just go. Like, I'm barely hitting the accelerator, to be honest, and it is already up to speed. Super quiet. You don't hear it like at all, which is kind of a downfall in my mind, but it's super smooth and super refined. in that aspect. But, you know, it's nice to hear the exhaust. It is every once in a while. But man, that thing just gets up and goes. Like, these EcoBoosts are just so torquey and have so much power, like right off the line. It doesn't matter what situation, the power is just there. The handling, it seems like it's a completely different idea of how to set up your suspension. Yes, of course, the Ram has the coil springs. These have the standard, you know, traditional leaf pack in the back. But the suspension does feel completely different. The mirrors, I do like the mirrors in the Ram better. These do give you the spotter mirrors, which is nice, especially if you are hauling a trailer. But I do find that the Ram mirrors, and the Ram mirrors are longer, so it gives you more visibility down the side of your truck with just the mirror itself. We're gonna hit these same bumps up here on the overpass, and I'll sort of let you know what I think. Okay, here they come right now. I mean, both trucks handle the bumps so well, but I really do have to say that the actual on-road driving, handling, suspension, steering characteristics, I like the feel of the Ram. As of right now, I like to feel the Ram better than the Ford. So we're gonna get up to speed, set the cruise control. We got some hills here. We had a vehicle to pass last time. We got a vehicle to pass this time. We're in 9th gear right now. Just dropped down to 8th, which is cool about the Ford. It shows you what gear that you are in. We're gonna get our cruise control back down to the speed that we want. This truck just wants to go. Both trucks just want to go. But both trucks seems effortless to get up to speed. But I will say that the EcoBoost just seems like it just wants to go, and it's hard to hold back. And it's so quiet that you don't realize, you know, how fast you're going, to be honest. But we are set at the exact same speed as we were last time. We're about 63 miles per hour, and we are honestly like right at the identical RPM that we were in the Ram. In the Ram, it's an 8-speed, this is the 10-speed. But we were doing this exact same speed, and we are getting the same RPM as what we were getting in the Ram, which is pretty interesting. Because I mean, we have 2 more gears in this truck compared to the Ram, and we are right there. We are right there on RPM. All right, so we're looping around. So far, we're getting a bit better mileage in this truck. So let's get on the accelerator here a little bit, just like we did in the Ram. Not full throttle, and now we will go full throttle. She gets up and goes, guys. She definitely gets up and goes. So far, we are at 10.6 liters per every 100. Now I know this isn't, you know, an absolute true accurate test because it's not pump to pump calculations. We're just going off what the truck says. But so far, as according to the trucks, the Ford is getting a bit better. So we'll head home, see what the final results are, and I'll give you guys my sort of closing thoughts on, you know, what I think about these trucks. All right, guys, so we are back. So there's something interesting. 51.5 kilometers on this truck. 11.1. I think the Ram was 11.7. So without doing pump to pump, like, that's really tough to call. But according to the trucks, this truck was slightly better on fuel. All right, guys, so that was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. First time driving both those trucks. First time driving a Ram for a long time, the half tons anyway. What are my thoughts? Well, man, it is really, really, really tough. There's a lot of things about the Ford I like more than the Ram. A lot of things about the Ram I like more than the Ford. And that's how it goes with no matter what vehicle you drive, unless you are an absolute fanboy of one brand versus the other, and you have an open mind, there's gonna be things that are better in manufacturers compared to others. It's just the way it goes. Some manufacturers have their strength. The Ford, I definitely liked the interior more. Just a few more soft touch materials. I like the back seat more in the Ford with the flat floor, and I do think there's a bit more room in the back of the Fords than there is in the Ram. As far as on-road driving, I loved the feel of that Ram. The handling, the suspension, the steering was great. The brakes were great. I found the brakes more responsive right at the start of the pedal compared to the Ford. You know, this is tough because one is my father-in-law's, one is my father's. So if they watch this video and I pick one truck over the other, they're gonna be going, oh man, like what? And they might get upset. Who knows? But if you were to tell me, I want you to pick a truck and take it for a 5-hour drive, which truck are you gonna choose? Honestly, I think I'd choose the Ram. I just love the way that it drove. I love the way that it actually drove. The Ford has loads of power. It might be a little bit more comfortable because of the Ford has like the 8-way power seat, so you can move the seat around no matter what way you want. But just sitting in the trucks and just going for a drive, I found that Ram very comfortable, handled great, loved the sound of the engine. I think the sound system might be a little bit better in the Ram compared to the Ford. But anyway, guys, you really can't go wrong either way. Both are great trucks. It all depends on what you're looking for, what your taste is, what's important to you. Either way, you can't go wrong. You really can't. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helps possibly make a decision. Stay tuned because I am going to be hooking up both these trucks to my enclosed trailer, and I'm going to be towing probably 35 to 4,000 pounds. So stay tuned for that video. I'll let you know what I think about both trucks. And you know, as always, guys, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.